Hello friends, welcome to Knowledge House. Let's look into today's The Hindu newspaper, that is of the date 10th of September 2018. So as usual, we'll be looking only to certain articles that are reported from a UPSC and various other greater competitive exams perspective. So I welcome you all to this video. Let's start. The first article is regarding the Rajiv Gandhi case convicts who have spent their life in who have spent more than 25 years in jail as of now. So Tamil Nadu government recommended the release of all 7 Rajiv Gandhi convicts case convicts. That's what the article is about, and the governor is bound to accept the cabinet decision under Article 161. So these are the things to be noted here. So the decision followed the Supreme Court's observation last week that the governor shall be at liberty to decide on the remission application of Perarivalan, who is one of the convicts, as deemed fit, and all the name of other convicts are also mentioned here, which I don't think it is important for us. So let's look into the pictorial part here, which says some of the legal aspects. So Raj Bhavan to take call. Tamil Nadu government has invoked Article 171, which grants clemency power to the governor to recommend the release of all seven convicts in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case. So what are the options before the governor? Option 1, advice of the Council of Ministers is binding on the governor, so he may accept it immediately. And no time limit is prescribed in the constitution. So no time limit is prescribed in the constitution, and the governor can take his own time. That's the second part. And the third is the governor can seek sender's opinion in the matter. That's the third option for him. And the governor can seek reconsideration of the decision. So these are the 4 options under Article 161 of the Constitution. So what are the possible grounds for remission? Change in circumstances, as the convicts have completed 27 years in prison. That's one ground. An earlier rejection of mercy petitions by the governor or the president was made, while some of them were death row convicts. As they are all life convicts now, there is no bar on granting remission. So sovereign power has not been exercised so far in respect of 3 convicts originally sentenced to life. So that's the other ground. And the Supreme Court judgments have ruled that rejection of clemency once does not exhaust the power and it can be invoked again. So these are the grounds under which Article 161 has been invoked in this case. So definitely this a lot of questions can be, at least in the mains examination, a lot of questions can appear. At least not this time, maybe the next year. So we have to look into Article 161 very thoroughly, or if there are any other precedents, something of this sort, that is whether there are any other cases in which Article 161 or any other cases of national importance under which Article 161 has been invoked, and these are the things to be noted into. And definitely there is another dimension. Already some of them are death row convicts, and now all of them are life convicts, and they have already spent 27 years in jail. So like, what causes that delay? This is really important, and all these prisoners will have to undergo a lot of trauma while inside the prison. So there are possible dimensions from which we have to look into this particular article. So that's all important about this. Let's move on to the next one. So 377 verdict has an inbuilt firewall. That's what this article is about. So the 5-judge constitution bench led by Chief Justice Deepak Misra has introduced the doctrine of progressive realization of rights. This is important. Doctrine of progressive realization of rights to guard against the future attempts to reintroduce the part of Section 377 to the Indian Penal Code, which had made the entire LGBTQ community unconvicted felons without the basic right of citizen for over a century. So what exactly is this doctrine of progressive realization of rights? So the doctrine, the doctrine of progressive realization of rights mandates that the law of a country should be in consonance with the modern ethos, and it should be sensible and easy to apply. So this is what is about the doctrine of progressive realization, and the state has an obligation to take appropriate measures for the progressive realization of economic, social and cultural rights. That's what Justice Deepak Misra has noted in the judgment. So there are various other cases in which a similar doctrine can be invoked. So no, I personally feel, this is my personal opinion. Please don't take it as an offense if by any chance if my comment is offending you. And recently, there was the SCST, this Prevention of Atrocities Act, which went to a tussle between Supreme Court and the judiciary. I mean, Supreme Court and the Parliament. Supreme Court said that there are some, that anticipatory bail option. So there are those, actually the comments of the Supreme Court, according to my view, held some liberal values, because you know that particular law, that is Prevention of Atrocities Against the SCSG, definitely has a really low conviction rate. So, and also this anticipatory bail, this particular law, I personally know many instances where this particular law has been used as a tool to threat the other side. So definitely that raises a lot of questions regarding the effectiveness of this law and how this has been used. So according to me, the Supreme Court's comment, or Supreme Court, whatever the Supreme Court said, was really fair. And and to me, that also involves the doctrine of progressive realization of rights, because that too involves, it is a progressive realization. The law was getting much more progressive in respect to Supreme Court's comments. So that's all important about that. That's what I personally feel. Anyway, the doctrine of progressive realization of rights, this is the important point here, and definitely what kind of history this doctrine has got in our evolution of polity. So these are the questions from which, these are the dimensions from which we have to look into this particular issue. So let's move on to the next one. So CPEC won't lead to a debt trap. That's what China has said. So recently, the Pakistan and China went through a bilateral meeting of their foreign ministers. So mounting a robust defense of its no strings attached backing for CPEC. So CPEC is something which it refers to China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is a significant component of the Belt and Road Initiative. So and CPEC passes through our Pak-occupied Kashmir. That's the reason why we have raised our sovereignty issues regarding, or we have raised the red flag, because it is our property basically through which this particular thing goes. So and also there are allegations that wherever the country, China has been investing a lot to gain their own advantage, especially Maldives and various other countries, especially in the African region. Also, China has been investing a lot, and this has pushed such countries into a debt trap. That's what the recent development is about. So CPEC won't lead to a debt trap. That's what China has said. So mounting a robust defense of its no string attached backing for CPEC, China's visiting foreign minister Wang Yi asserted during a press conference in Islamabad on Saturday that among the 22 projects within the framework of CPEC, 18 involved investment and aid, and only 4 of them used concessional loan. He stressed that 9 of these projects have already been completed and 13 are under construction. Anyway, the numerical things are not important for us. All we have to look into is CPEC and definitely the debt trap kind of matter, which I outlined a little bit. So that's all important about this particular article. And definitely there was another important point from which we have to look into. So in talks on Afghanistan, Mr. Wang Yi, who's a foreign minister of China, spotlighted that undiminished relevance of the trilateral China-Pakistan-Afghanistan dialogue as a platform to align the perceptions between these countries. So last year at the inaugural meeting of the trilateral mechanism in Beijing, Chinese Foreign Ministry offered Afghanistan participation in CPEC, and China has also apparently agreed to train an Afghan mountain brigade without putting any boots on the ground in Afghanistan. So definitely, Afghanistan going near to China or getting closer to China is not something really good for India. So we have our own strategic interest there. We are already invested in Chabahar port, which will also help Afghanistan a lot. And like the Afghan factor, and in this particular meeting, since all of us have interest there, we have been purposefully avoided from this particular meeting. So definitely this raises a lot of questions regarding China's intentions in pulling Afghanistan closer to them. So these are the dimensions from which we should look into this issue. So that's all important about that. Let's look into finance. Let's move to the finance part of today's Hindu newspaper. So Finance Ministry to engage with states to shore up GST revenue. So, alarmed by a nearly fourfold rise in GST compensation to the states, the center has already paid 14,930 crore to compensate for the revenue loss incurred in June and July, and a nearly fourfold jump when compared to that of a 3,899 crore paid for the month of April and May. So, this is really disappointing factor when it comes to the GST kind of thing regarding the effectiveness of GST, because states are undergoing laws on a upstream basis. But as per the GST law, the union is supposed to compensate. So this is really disappointing. So a distinction to shore up revenue, a discussion to shore up revenue has already happened with 4 states: Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Puducherry, and Jammu and Kashmir. While a dialogue with Bihar and Uttarakhand is slated to take place later part of this month. So the official said that one of the options being considered is stepping up anti-evasion measures with a focus on top 30 taxpayers. So you know in the light of rising fuel prices, there is a strong argument that all petroleum products should be kept on or should be pushed into this GST bracket. So the important point to be noticed here is, once petroleum products are pushed into GST bracket, definitely the state government will lose a lot of revenue. So I don't think the states are going to easily agree with that, and the GST council will have to discuss, or will have to really push forward. We will have to pay through their nose actually to get this GST or get petroleum products in GST bracket done. So anyway, this is one of the drawbacks of GST, because the compensation amount is going on increasing. So that's all important about this particular article. Let's move on to the next one. It is regarding the macros management. This was actually a huge article, but we can infer whatever that is important from this particular image. So the 2018's number look, which is written in the in a bluish color, which is mentioned in a depicted in a bluish color here. So rupee was 71 rupees 73 paise in 2018 versus 68 in 2013, and all such important factors are being compared. And also the point to be noticed here is the current account deficit has decreased, fiscal deficit has also decreased, while GDP growth has increased. So this raises, already people are really disappointed regarding the rising crude oil prices, and also the fall in rupee against the US dollar, and also I mean the recent RBI data regarding the growth has been really promising, because it has registered an 8.1% growth, and a lot of people, there has been a lot of noise regarding this. So altogether, this article says that everything is still positive, but at the ground levels of the economy, at people at the lower echelons of the society are really suffering. So that's all important about that. Let's look into another part, that is explainer why SEBI norms spooked the FPIs. Yesterday we read an article regarding the SEBI notice barring the NRIs and PIOs and various other categories of people from managing this certain type of fund in stock exchange related kind of thing. So why SEBI has spooked FPIs? So in April, SEBI has issued a circular barring the NRIs and various other categories, that is NRIs, OCIs and PIOs from managing foreign funds. So why are FPIs unhappy? That's a crucial question here. So FPIs are currently allowed to invest up to 10% in a single listed company. According to SEBI circular, their total investment in all the investee companies put together cannot exceed this limit. And that's one reason why FPIs are unhappy. And the second one is, as of now, economic ownership has been the basic criteria for determining the beneficial owner, that is BO, which is mentioned here as BO, as an offshore fund. So this means an entity owning a majority stake in a fund is considered a BO. But according to the circular, the regulator has asked the FPIs to determine ownership based on both shareholding and control. So that is another important factor to be noticed from this article. And the third, SEBI has said that the high-risk nations would be subject to more rigorous KYC norms. However, this is a positive development for FPI, as SEBI appointed panel on Saturday suggested a few amendments to the circular. So what has the panel suggested? So one thing is the panel is headed by the former RBI Deputy Governor H.R. Khan, who suggested NRIs and OCIs and be allowed to manage foreign funds that invest in India, subject to certain holding limits. Second, a single NRI, OCI or a RI cannot hold more than 25% of the assets under management of the foreign fund, and the aggregate holding of such entities has to be below 50%. So the center has told the SEBI that it need not use the beneficial owner definition laid down under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, and SEBI has been asked to consult the center to evolve a more objective criteria for defining high risk jurisdiction. So that's all important about this. So and the next article is something regarding the race for financial inclusion. So the data says that, or ultimately the data says that in 2011, only 35.23% of Indian households enjoyed financial inclusivity. So this raises a lot of questions regarding the JAM initiative, that is Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar and mobile banking kind of thing. So all BRICS nations are ahead of us, but as of 2017, we are on par with China. That's what the graph shows. So that's all important about today. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Do share it with your friends. You can follow us on Telegram. You can also visit our blog, that is www.knowledgehouse.co. And please do subscribe our channel so that you won't miss any updates from us. And please do support us if possible by making payments to this particular Paytm number. And another way you can support us by sharing this video as much as possible. So thank you very much for watching this video once again. Have a nice day.